Are we connected with IG?
That's it. Yeah, hit it. You hit it. Greetings, class. You are here to talk about real estate investing and your life, your career. You are live with Dan Borrero and Kris Haskins. On Sunday, we talk about all the tips, strategies, and secrets that we have been using to stay in business for me since 2004. Dan Borrero has been in the real estate business since 1989, and we would like to see what we can do to help you grow your business, put a strategic plan together for you and your family for the following year, help you with different ideas, tenant management, construction ideas, building materials, financing, the sport of acquisition, tenants, leases, all that stuff. And that's what we do for this evening with my friend Dan Borrero. We are our mission and we are committed to helping you with your real estate. And we're going to go over with you very quickly what has been going on with us for the last few days. And we would love to take questions from you directly. Now, if you're watching this after the broadcast, there is an email below where you can get in touch with us to do a consultation. Just send us an email and I'll get it over to Dan and you can invest in that. But if you catch us live, there's a phone number you can dial in to get your question answered. Anything about real estate, life, entrepreneurship. Let me get this thing on. And don't be calling this number after we get off because we ain't picking it up. Dan Borrero, how you doing, brother?
Always good, brother. Always good. Life is great, man. Especially when you get an opportunity to do it all over again every day.
You're right. That's a good way to look at it. You know, you got lack and abundance in existence at the same time. Sometimes I focus on the lack more than the abundance, Dan. Do you often have that problem?
I do, and I have to remind myself, that we're fortunate.
It's crazy, right? So news, we talking about the hot topic right now, Nicole Espinoza. She came on my channel a few weeks ago. I'm not gonna beat her up. I want to lift up all of our fellow investors. I don't want to com- I don't want to say that she's guilty, innocent, whatever, but she has been charged. The indictment we're going to go over tonight. She's been charged with some crimes. And Dan Borrero, I want to hear your opinion on it. Let's go ahead and bring it up because this is some serious stuff. Dan and I were talking the other day. Once the feds, once they come after you,
Oh, you're done.
Dan said that, but he used a different he used a different word when he said that. It rhymes with pluck. Short sell queen. So let's read this thing together, Dan. So I want people to understand. I have seen many of my colleagues go to jail for a long time, man, and this won't be the first. Self-proclaimed short sale queen, y'all. Somebody brought this to my attention because she came on my channel, and I was trying to get her to do some short sale training for my crew. I want y'all to look at the date on this. This is one day before my birthday. I just turned 49 the other day, Dan. I'm 49.
Don't look a day over 50, bro.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. Nicole Espinoza, also known as the short sale queen, and some other people were indicted the other day by federal grand jury. And here's the thing I can't stand about the grand jury. They put these people in a room and they show them the evidence and they say yay or nay. And then they get to say if they're coming after you or not. And I can, Dan, it's just what it is, man. Charged with federal violations related to mortgage fraud scheme in the Eastern District. The 2-count indictment, I can't believe it's only 2 counts, charges them with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, which could be 1,000 different things, affecting a financial institution, and conspiracy to commit false statements to a federally insured financial institution. Those are the two crimes that they're going. I want to first debate, Dan, before we throw the stones at these people and we say point fingers. I just want us to just look at ourselves when we talk about false statements to a financial institution. You want to talk about that a little bit, Dan?
Look, I don't. I found that article not to be informative enough, right? Because
Me too.
yes, there are many times that short sale, short sa- when you go into a short sale, one of the things, the tactics that I know many homeowners use to stop the foreclosure is to declare bankruptcy,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on each state has their own laws, right? And these are attorney questions, guys. And I want to point out that neither Chris
Neither
nor
one
I
of us.
are attorneys.
No attorneys. Not
Um,
giving you no advice. This is just
yeah.
information only.
So it's a little ambiguous. It's not detailed enough for me to really give an opinion, because many times people will be advised either by a short sale negotiator, a realtor, another attorney, and say, hey, listen, if you want to stop this and slow this down, declare bankruptcy, right? Then in the interim, they'll get a realtor that's knowledgeable within the short sale realm and ring and give them tactics on what they could do then to try to get the property under a short sale. But there's a lot of rules that go along with short sales. Like one of them is, you know, it's unethical. In addition to, there's a document that the bank, the institution that is allowing the short sale that the money's owed to, will say it's got to be an arm's length transaction, meaning you cannot be related to that seller, right?
Hmm.
Or you can't be in the process of doing business with that seller. So I don't know what they have on her, um, or what they don't have on her, but it because it's not, the article wasn't detailed enough in my opinion. But I could tell you, if they come after you, in my experience, watching other people, when the feds come after you, you
They
got
got
a problem. Like
you got a problem.
they
But I
you
want you
got
to hear
a
this,
problem.
Dan. Let me play this for you.
There are two
Can you
ways
hear
that you
this?
can wholesale actually close with the
Can you hear this,
lender.
Dan?
Yeah, I can hear it.
There
Let's
are
hear it.
Okay.
two ways that you can wholesale a short sale. So one, you can do a double close. And what that means is that you, on the front end, you don't assign the contract. There are two ways
Sorry,
that you
y'all.
can wholesale a short sale. So one, you can do a double close. And what that means is that you, on the front end, you don't assign the contract. You actually the lender, and then on the back end, you close with your back end buyer at a different title company. And I always recommend a title company that is familiar with double closes and that are investor friendly, because you're always going to get that title company that has no idea, they don't understand, and makes it really complicated. If you have a good title company, sometimes if you have a good relationship, they'll be able to fund the same day, so that you only need transactional funding, or sometimes you don't even need to give your own money because the back end can fund the first. So I don't want to get too much into it or get too complicated, but it is possible, and that's the best way to do it.
So
Oh
I kind of
boy.
disagree with that, because I've never seen a short sale that doesn't have a deed restriction, meaning, you can't sell it for 90 days, for instance, or 60 days, or 30 days. And if you resell, you can't sell it for more than this amount of
X
money
amount.
within these amount of days, right? So,
Well, every
you know,
loan is different though, Dan. Every loan that comes through is
yeah,
different,
every
right?
every 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 short sale is negotiated differently. Like I remember I'd have guys try to wholesale me short sales that were about to close, but they were buying it under a trust, and then they would say, we could get around those restrictions because I'm not selling you the property, I'm selling you the trust, and the
Mhm.
property happens to be in the trust. And I never did it because I never felt comfortable with it. The
Tell me.
one thing I pride myself in is I don't want to do anything when it comes to the banking system, or anything to do with the feds, where 5 years from now they're going to come knocking on my door in the middle of the night and take me out in handcuffs in front of my wife and my kids, right? So it's got to pass the smell test, people. If it doesn't smell right,
You gotta watch out. But
yeah.
Dan, that video there, when I see somebody closing on a short sale and then immediately selling it the same day,
I've never seen
I
anything like
have.
that you could do. Now, have I closed on short sales several months later, resell it? Yeah, but that's like after I've gone in and renovated the place.
That's the key. That's all I want to talk about. I want to talk
Yeah,
about
we've
that. So
renovated, we've cleaned, new kitchens, new
let's talk about that.
bathrooms, or new roof, or
We've done ton of them.
sometimes you just do lipstick work. It depends on the
Hmm.
depth of how bad the property is. But um, because look, the reality is we're telling the short sale negotiators getting a BPO. right? And essentially, it's another form of an appraisal but it's not an appraiser. It's a broker's opinion. Uh, Somebody who has experience in the area, right? So they're saying to the bank, hey, bank, this property is worth this XYZ, $100,000 in the open market. So the short sale negotiator wants 100,000. So, but let's say the market dropped, right? Let's say, the person owes $300,000, but the property is only worth 200,000, and the seller, the owner of the property, the person living in the property, the seller is saying, you know what, I'm so underwater, I'm going to stop paying my mortgage, and let's do a short sale. So now they go to the bank, and you go to the bank and you say, hey, bank, if you foreclose on this person, it's going to cost you $100,000 in legal fees. It's going to cost you between your legal fees and you maintaining the property and hiring a maintenance company to winterize it, make sure there's no leaks, and then do a whitewash, meaning whitewash the walls, with white paint. It's going to cost you 100,000. So why not just sell it to Dan and Kris Borrero for 200,000? Not do any of the work. You're going to lose 100,000. Either way, it's going to cost you money. So pick your pain is what you're basically saying to the bank, right? But now you can't. The bank says, yeah, but it's worth 300, and I'm like, yeah, but it's worth 300 only if it was fixed up. And here's the comps. Here's the proof, right? So that BPO you have is really, it's not a legitimate BPO, and these are the reasons why. So how do I then turn around to the bank and say it's not worth 300, but then the same day I close on it without touching it, I sell it for 300 at the same closing table to another person? That means I lied to the bank. I lied to that asset manager. I came up with false documentations. And again, I don't know if that's the situation that happened here.
Well, that's why I wanted to play that video, Dan, because when you're talking about closing on a short sale that's worth 300, let's take exactly what you just said. That's why I played that video. You're buying it today for 200. You're selling it today for 240. So which one is it worth? 200 or 240? So you have to, which one are you lying about? So that's why that's why I wanted people to see that video, and I wanted people to understand the whole process. What you're doing is you are adding value to the property and bringing it up to that number, as opposed to saying, look, boom, boom, I'm selling it the same day. Which one is, what
Right.
the number that you gave to the bank, right? Or the one that you sold it? Which one is it?
Right.
Either way, you BSing.
Either way, you're dealing with documents that you're notarizing, documents that are put together by the federal government. A lot of those documents are.
They got teeth. They got teeth.
You're playing. Not only that, you're chipping the government out of their taxes, right? Because every time you record that deed, the recording, the cost of that recording is based on the purchase price, right? Or the transfer of the deed, or there's certain taxes that the government's getting gypped out on as well if you're not straightforward. So I've never done deals like that. I've had plenty of family members that came to me and say, hey, listen, let's do a short sale, you buy it under your company name, and then I'll pay you rent. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that, because now it nullifies the arm's length transaction, right? I'm not supposed to be your friend, I'm not supposed to be an acquaintance, I'm not supposed to be a family member, I'm not supposed to have been doing business with you. I'm not supposed to have a side deal with you, because one of the things is a lot of short sale documents I've seen, most of them will have that the owner has to move out, because they don't want the owner benefiting from their loss. Right. So, and that's part of the agreement. So there's a lot of rules and regulations that go into short sales, and if you don't follow those rules and regulations, it will come back and bite you in the ass. Now, is it going to bite everybody in the ass? No, because
probably not.
It's impossible for them to check the resources. I don't think are there, but are you that one person they checked? Yeah, to me, it's not worth it.
So y'all put your name in the chat. Which city you coming from at? Where are you guys at? Call in with your questions, 757-204-1332. 757-204-1332. Get your questions in. Dan and I are going to keep going, but this short sale thing is serious, and I wanted Dan to see that video. And I've seen Nicole speak at a lot of big events, so I don't want to throw her under the bus, dude. I think
I don't want to throw. Again, the other thing is maybe she was doing business with somebody that was doing it unethically, selling her property. We don't know what
You don't even know.
we
You don't
don't know
even
if she
know.
got caught up because of somebody else's issues. But I remember hearing her talking about. I think she has an 8 or 9 year old child. So I just hope people understand that this is a woman that has a mother, a father, or, a
That's right,
husband, a
husband.
child.
Winston.
I'd like to give her the benefit of the doubt and wait until everything is in.
Caller, hold 1 second. Caller, hold 1 second. The defendants researched and located properties that were in the pre-foreclosure short sale process and approached the homeowners about listing the properties for sale. So we'll continue this in a minute. Caller, you're on the line with Dan and Kris. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, cool. Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Winston, and I'm calling from Fort Mill, South Carolina.
South
Thank you for being here, Winston.
Winston, hey man, thanks for coming on. Give us your question and your scenario. What you got, buddy?
Gotcha. So I have a assignment, and I already have the buyer in place. Title's good. We're set to close. It's a tied landlord situation. The tenant is in the property, served a 30-day notice, and they're kind of refusing to leave or kind of making it difficult. So they're not really motivated by money. They kind of like do the cash for keys thing. So I was trying to see, outside of the eviction, what would be the best course of action to pretty much get them out, so that way we can get the deal closed and on to the next one.
Winston, let me ask you a question. When you say they're not motivated by cash, why do you say that?
It's one of them situations where the rent is so cheap. They've been staying there for years, and rents have gone up probably like the last 5-6 years. I mean, the rent is like around like $600, and market rent in that particular area is probably like $1,200 to $1,500.
Okay,
Wow.
so let
that's
me
what
ask
you're dealing
another
with
question,
here.
Winston. Do they have a lease?
Mhm.
Do they have a lease?
No, it's no. With South Carolina, it defaults to month. So, but they haven't renewed it, and God knows how long. So they pretty much are just paying to stay there.
Okay,
So there's no lease in place. But in the state of South Carolina, it goes month to month.
If you take them to court on a holdover, basically saying, I don't want to rent to them no more, I just want them out. What, from beginning to end, do you know how long it would take you?
You file eviction, you get a summons. It could probably take 2 months, give or take. Just depends on the courts. We come up at the end of the year, so you're probably looking at end of January, beginning of February.
Okay.
Maybe it could be sooner than that.
How much is it going to cost you to kick them out?
The eviction's like $40. I mean, you're probably looking at a couple hundred. I can give that to the seller. I mean, and they can do the eviction, and pretty much, I mean, it'd be a done deal.
Winston,
So they don't have a leg to stand on legally.
why are you taking the burden for dealing with these tenants? Give us a story of that and not the end cash buyer.
The
Why is this
buyer
falling
just
your
doesn't
shoulders?
really want to. They don't want the property. They want the property vacant at closing, essentially. So, I mean, could I try to find another buyer that would take it? Sure, but they already put the EMD down and the title's good. So, I mean, it's pretty much a done deal. They move out. Otherwise,
who are you in this deal? Where are you? What's your position?
He's a wholesaler.
He's a wholesaler.
Yeah, I'm just assigning it. Yeah.
I don't know why you have to do. Okay, is your buyer a savvy buyer or is he a newbie?
Probably like a contractor. I would say somewhat savvy, but probably just doesn't want to do the work to get the tenant out.
Now, okay, and your buyer, the property price, what is it reflective of the market? Is it below market price? If it is, what percent? Or is it at market after your fees and all that? Where's the price?
Probably like 20% of market. So you get 20 cents on the dollar.
20 cents on the dollar.
Wow, that's a smoker.
Yes, sir.
Why are you negotiating? Take it as is, because you'll find somebody else at 20 cents.
Yeah, I would say shit. You 20. I'm giving you a 20 cent on a dollar deal, and you
you
giving
want
me
me
a
to
hard
get
time for the tenant.
That's your problem.
I'd be gone.
Yeah.
20 cents
Yeah,
on
and
a
we're
dollar.
selling it probably like 45.
If it's worth
Yeah, we're selling
200,000,
it
you're getting
45
it
cents on the
for
dollar. So
$40,000.
yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And then you give
You're
them
at
45 cents on the dollar.
45
Yeah.
cents on a dollar, even still, I'd be like,
Man, I'll be like, look, you deal with it.
we're not negotiating that.
Yeah, I would.
You know what? You don't want it? No problem. Somebody else will buy it. Shit. Dan Borrero and Kris. All you got to do is find somebody, that's investing in that area. What's the selling price?
What's the selling price? 20K.
And you dealing with that for 20? Nah, forget that.
No way. I wouldn't. I would like, man, that's your problem. I love what Dan Borrero says. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem.
You want this deal at that price, comes with the tenant, and that's your problem.
That's your problem. Winston, do you feel comfortable passing this on to the contractor buyer?
Well, of course, yeah. I mean,
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Some people be like, no, I want to do it for the guy. I don't know.
No, I would do it. It was more just come JVing with someone. He bought the buyer, so I'm just trying to uphold what they wanted. I mean, they put down, 3K MD, so I'm like, okay.
All right,
I'm just trying to help them out. But
Winston, let me explain something to you, Winston.
Yeah.
I want a full head of hair. I want to be 50 pounds lighter and still eat everything I love to eat.
Yeah.
We all ain't gonna get what we want, right?
But did he put that in the assignment? See, for me, I'm gonna put it in the assignment addendum. You get them out of there. Now, is it anything in writing where you have to do this, Winston?
No, it's just in the actual purchase and sale. Property has to be vacant at closing.
Okay.
I did put that there.
You got a problem then.
You got a problem then.
You got a problem.
You don't have at these numbers, you don't agree to that. It's an as-is sale. When you're buying at 45 cents on the dollar, you're buying someone else's headaches. That's just common knowledge in this business, right? If I'm buying another person's property at 45 cents on the dollar, I'm buying a headache. That's what I'm buying. I'm buying someone else's problems. I'm buying someone else's
that. Yeah. They know that tenant's a problem, Dan. That's why they giving it to you for that price.
Yeah.
Tenant did me a favor. That's why I'm getting it for that price. I thank tenants like that.
All right, so Dan, now we know that he has an issue. Now what? He does have to get the property vacant, or he could go renegotiate.
Is the contract executed on both sides?
Yeah, I could seller signed and then buyer, we signed it. Yeah, they put the MD down. Yes.
Okay, so again, now that's a terrible deal. So
come on, Dan. We got to get guys. That's what we're here for. We got to give you some value.
So the reason I asked you is how long is it going to take you to get rid of them is 2 months. It's because 2 months in this frame of in this scenario is not a very long time to wait to close a deal. I'd be all right. You want to wait until they're gone? No problem. It's going to take 2 to 3 months, and we'll close that.
The process now. Send the 30-day notice now. If they're not out in 30 days. It's going to be longer than 30 days because you got Christmas. The judge might not be like, we're going to give them another 2 weeks because they lost. It could be the judge could do anything, but get that 30-day notice out today, dog. Dan, would you say? Dan is the master of this.
Yeah, it's already been out. Yeah, it's already been out. Yeah.
When you sent that?
November 16th.
All right, so we got.
Yeah, but see, every state's different. So, like in New York City, for instance, if I sent it out November 16th, the 30 days doesn't start until December 1st. So that would go to December 1st to December 31st. And then I could start on June 2nd, assuming it's not a weekend, or, so I could then ask for what they call an index number, right? And then when I it takes like 3 to 4 weeks to get an index number for me to then file for a court date, and I won't see a judge for 7 months, right? But this is a total different area. So my point is, the reason I asked you how long would it take you is because if it's only 3 months, I would then sell the seller. Since everybody's already agreed to that, I'd say, okay, well, I can't get them out. I got to get them in court, and it's going to take me 2 to 3 months. So we could wait until then, or you could take the house as is. And in the interim, I would go to them and say, listen, you're going to be out of here regardless, whether it be this month or 3 months from now. So, and they're probably not going to pay you the rent too when you're going to court. So I would say if it's $600 a
Yeah.
month, that's 1,800. I would say, listen, it's going to cost me $1,800. I know you're not going to pay the rent. 3 times 600 a month. Plus, it's going to cost me another $600 in legal fees. So if you want, you can leave now with $2,400 in your pocket. But once I start this process, we're not coming back to this offer. This offer doesn't exist.
Okay.
Winston, how do you know they don't want any money?
I talked to him, Chris. It's one of them situations. I ain't trying to put him on blast, but
I don't know him.
you know,
It's
it's
put
just
the name out there.
Sure. Yeah, I got you. But yeah, people are going to be people, and you got to be firm with them. And they're not trying to do what they need to do.
Are they
I could try
elderly?
that. I may go that route. What?
Are they elderly?
Yeah, they have. She has her father staying with her somewhat, so he may be up in age, but I mean, I couldn't put a number on how old he would be per se.
When you offered them
but
the
he's
money,
up there.
when you offered them the money, what did they say?
No, I didn't offer no money yet. I was just trying to see. I'm just going off a feeling that if I was to offer them, let's say $1,000, they would just want more, just because they're trying to be greedy. You know what I mean?
I want Dan to help me with this, but when we do Cash for Keys, we never make an offer. We always start with a question, Winston. So if I say, Winston, what is it going to take? Look, man, I would love to keep you here. You're going to butter them up. I'd love to keep you here. Tell them the whole story. What would it take to get you out of here by the end of the year? Is there a number that you could give me? Let them tell you. They might say $500. We don't even know. So I would go over there and just say, what would it take for me to get this property? I really would love to help you. I mean, what can we do? What can we do? And then let them tell you, and then you go back with a number, So I would start. Dan, can we at least start there before you go get your joint and then get the boys on them and start breaking fingers and
I tell you
stuff you do.
Winston, for me, it's all a matter of the personality I'm dealing with, right? There's certain people I could approach Kris just described, and many times I have. And then there's other people that I can't do that with because
they ain't trying to hit it.
They're not ready for the question, or they're actually very if I give them an option of being unreasonable, they're going to take the unreasonable route. And those so it all depends on the personality traits when you're dealing with.
That's what I'm dealing with. The latter, they're kind of unreasonable. That's kind of like the vibe I'm getting.
I would come straight up. Listen, you got your 30-day notice. We're going to be going to court. You're going to be out in 3 months. I know you're not going to pay me for the next 3 months, which is $1,800, and it's going to cost me $600 to get rid of you in legal fees. It's $2,400. So what I'm proposing is I'd rather give you the $2,400. You leave now by the end of the month, but this offer exists now. Once we start the court process, you're not getting a dime. So either you can leave with something, or you're going to leave. Then you're going to leave with nothing. So it's your option. Either way, the option of you not leaving.
Either way, you're out of here.
That's not an option. The only
that's how I feel. And that's how I feel.
You leaving with money, or you leaving without money?
Yeah.
But the option of you leaving is not an option. You leaving.
No doubt. Winston, good luck to you, man. Let us know when next week or next month. Come back over here and tell us how it panned out.
Appreciate it, y'all. Y'all be blessed, man. Thank you.
All right, peace.
Thank you, brother.
That sounds like casino. Either you're in on it or you knew about it. Either way. Either way, you're out. Y'all, call in 757-204-1332 on the hotline. The real estate hotline was Dan and Kris. Dan, that's a good one. I love it. Different approaches, but I like to ask people what they want. What do you want? Everybody wants something.
For me, it depends. I hate giving the first number out.
So why are you offering the tenant money then?
It all depends on the tenant. And by the way, I've only done Cash for Keys twice in my entire lifetime.
Oh wow, I've done it
many times. And both times I felt sorry for the people. That's the only reason I did it. because I don't. My pride, my temperament just doesn't allow me to do it. Now, I'm not. I want the audience to understand something. How many people are on here right now, Chris?
We got 45.
I want
Yeah.
the audience to understand something. Many times I should have paid the cash for keys. It would have been cheaper for me, especially financially and with time. But I was filled with piss and vinegar, tough guy attitude, all that bullshit, and my pride wouldn't let me. But the reality is, most of the time, it's very cost advantageous to do the cash for keys.
Oh, you're daggone right. Time.
Yes.
Time. Forget money. It's all about your time.
Yeah.
Y'all, call in with your questions. So, Dan, we got a question there. We got some other questions here. Can we talk about exome? Exome. For example, if I won to bid for $100K and the property I'm bidding has $50,000 mortgage or lien on the house, does that money I bid to get it, pay it off? Yep. They're not gonna give you a house when we get paid off. Also, do I do a title search before the property or the auction? No, you don't gotta do that. Not on the ones that are online. They're not gonna sell you a bad house. Or I like Dan answer that. I never had a bad auction.
It all depends on the auction site. Like if you go to Hub Zoo, like those type of auctions, you're going through a title company anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna come up.
Yeah, and they're not gonna transfer title without having clear title.
They can't transfer title. Yeah. Mark, I've got a tenant in City Feps in Queens. They are the worst. They are the worst. WORST. Like if it's worse means it is worse than this. Worst means that it's the ultimate. There is nothing bad. There's no. I stopped paying for 3 months twice over the last 3 years. Rent never increased with lease renewals. Evictions takes years. Man, you're in trouble, Mark.
So I hate to tell you, Mark. Oh God.
What, Dan?
You're gonna be in court for a long time. Right now, actually, there were some Queens owners that got together and sued. I think it's the administrator of the courts or the clerks of courts, and it did lower the time frame in court in Queens. I think down to like 20 something months, 22, 23 months. But the reality is that like in Brooklyn, I've heard a couple of my mentees where it's taken them 29 months for the judge to say, okay, I'm going to evict, and then taking the judge another 8 to 12 weeks to sign the warrant. So, Mark, and
just because you win in court,
if you don't mind, bring that one back up about Mark.
Just because you win in court don't mean the judge don't mean you getting ready to evict the next day.
Yeah. So, Mark, you got to pick your pain, man.
Yeah. You might want to go kiss some booty.
Right now, my understanding of the system and the way it's even gotten more delayed is you got to give them their notice, and the notice that you give them is determined. The amount of days notice you give them is determined by the amount of years they were living there.
Oh my God!
The longer they were living there, the longer the amount of days is. On top of that, then after those days, your attorney's going to have to file for an index number, and then after receiving the index number, that can take 4 weeks. Then he could file for a court date.
Hold on 1 second, please.
6 to 7 months to get in front of a judge. And that doesn't mean the judge is going to make a decision that day, because they're going to show up to court and say, hey, I need an attorney. Judge is going to give them postponement. They're going to come back with an attorney. The attorney's going to say, another 3 weeks later, and the attorney's going to say, Judge, I need time to catch up with this case because I just caught this case yesterday. And the judge is going to give them another postponement. And then it's probably like the third or fourth time you get to court is when you're going to start actually talking about the case, right? So, choose your pain, Mark. I hate to say it, and that's one of the reasons I'm constantly saying it on my social media. Anybody that buys right now in the city of New York is insane.
Caller, you're on the line with Kris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, how you guys doing? It's me, Mike, again from the lower tri-state. And so I just wanted to touch bases with you guys again. I think last week or the week before, we were talking about the commercial properties.
Is that New
and
York?
I just complimented you guys.
Is that New York? Or what
the lower tri.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. So we call the city the. I'm down in Philly,
Okay.
Delaware, Jersey area.
Okay.
The lower tri-state.
Okay, cool. Hey, man, good to hear from you again, buddy.
How you doing? So what I wanted to say to the listeners is a lot of this information, it's real valuable, but I think a lot of times we overlook it. So I'll just give you an example. I remember I was dealing with property, and I was getting into the idea of wanting to buy this hotel. It was right around '08 when everything was crashing, and it was a hotel in Louisiana. I think it was like $100,000, something crazy, wow. Right? So my I was dealing with a commercial VP of the bank, and he sat me down. He kind of smiled at me because he knew me, and he said, "Do your due diligence. Just make sure you do your due diligence." He's not going to talk a lot. He's not going to explain it. And I thought about it, and what I come to realize is that a lot of times banks won't give you the funding because it's twofold here. It's real estate, but it's also a business. And so they don't want to finance that. But it was a lot of different extras. But what I wanted to say more is a lot of times, guys, before you start to buy real estate, do your due diligence. Think about not just because you saw something on social media. Don't just jump into saying, I want to buy property. Look at if you're going to hold property and you're going to rent. Look at the laws in your area as far as getting people. Think about these things. These things are the most simplistic things that you can do, but you get so caught up in the glamour of the emotion of wanting to have these properties, and now you become the guy calling in or texting in saying, I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to get these people out. They didn't change the law when you got in. It was there before you got in. Think about where you want to, like, I don't want to buy and hold property in Jersey. Jersey's property taxes are crazy. The amount of time it takes for you to evict a tenant is bananas. It's just certain things that you, in the townships, the little places, they're crazy. So you have to really pick and choose your battles.
That's true.
This is why you have these Kris and Dan here to be able to educate you. Real estate is not something to be played with. And I think a lot of times we go in thinking, oh, I'm going to buy it. It's going to go up. I put a tenant in. No, there's like,
hold on,
that's
buy it.
one
I'm
to
make money in 30 days. What are you talking about? They told me online I could go.
That's right. And I think that's that's the crazy part of the whole thing. I just think that most people just don't grasp it. And I'm glad you guys are here. And I love it. Like each week I see you giving new advice and just new things that people can latch on to. It's really refreshing. I think that more people need to educate themselves. I think it's really education, because what's happening, and think about this, I want the people to really understand, what's really happening is the hedge funds are going to shake everybody out that can't hold on. And the only thing that's going to be able to keep you in a position to hold on is your knowledge base. That's the only thing. So all you newbies coming in that want to jump in and you just want to I'm just going to do buy a tenement. No, they're not. They're going to reassess the property. Your taxes are going to go up. You thought it was passive income. It's not passive. You end up losing. And then at the end of the day, you put equity into it. Now they took your equity. You sitting out here, you done lost $200,000. You mad at them.
You mean the house? You mean the house when you mean the tenant when no one's in the house, no one pays rent? Is that how I got vacancies?
I like the way you said that, right?
I got vacancies?
That's right. That's passive, right? That's the thing that's amazing that people just don't. It's the social media stuff that really just, I don't know, it's really something that's amazing. So I just wanted to compliment you guys. And Kris, I wanted to say to you, because I know Dan is there, but I wanted to say to you, Kris, think about stocks, think about the investing side. So when I say this, remember, when I say this, I don't say it because everything is going up now. That's just a product of this new environment. It's going to go up and down right now. Mm-hmm. But also, when you learn it, there's so many different ways to really invest to bring back a return on your money. Yeah. It's so much. Sometimes it can be safer, because if you, like with Dan and I have kind of like a same spirit to a degree. And what I mean by that is, I call it the alley cat theories. Like what happens is we're going to get it whatever way we can. So Dan is like, going to open a store, he's going to do this, but there's natural progression to that. There's investments, there's things that he understands. Like he'll flip $1 to make another $1. He always understands that. That's how it works. You do too, but I know I don't want to push back on the stock side. No, there's natural progressions. You guys are in real estate. Real estate brings on, it's a money game. So you deal with this and you deal with stock, and you have to be able to marry the two. Because at some point, you're not going to want to go out there and deal with tenants. You're not going to want to go visit these properties. Right. I saw you deal with one where the guy gave a property back to you. I was like, yo, and he was a friend. And I was like, yo, I said, you know, at the end of the day, you can't get your money back. I love you, but you can't have your money back. So, like, you know, like you did that. You were grown, you signed the contract. But at some point, I get tired of that type of stuff. Yeah, and if I sit into a quality company, I give you a quick one. I ain't gonna hold you, but like say if you take 30 grand, you put it into a quality company like an Apple or Microsoft or any other quality company that affords you 100 shares. Those 100 shares, you can make money off of those shares each week, each month while having those shares, and they appreciate. But you don't have as much risk as you do with putting 100 grand into a property and having to deal with tenants being able to pay the stuff back.
And you see, Mike, I disagree with that totally.
What do you mean?
And I'll tell you why. Because although I do have money in the stock market, it's money that's my retirement money that I've basically shielded from taxes purposes, IRAs and things like that, SEP, 1Ks. But I don't really put my real cash money, the way I make monthly incomes from, into the market because, and I'll give you an example. There's so much insider trading. Like, let's take, there's like in New York, there was a bank called Signature Bank. Now, Signature Bank happened to be, in my opinion, the best bank I've ever had and dealt with in my entire life, especially when it comes to commercial accounts. All right. Signature Bank lent out a lot of money, supposedly to somebody with Bitcoins and things like that, and they took a nosedive. So I actually Signature Bank had a run on the bank. They had a run on the bank. When I went the next morning, when my wife called me upstairs and said, you need to see what's on the news, we had all our money in there. When I went to the bank that morning, it was 8 o'clock. It was about 8:30. The line was not around the corner. It was wrapped around 2 blocks.
Damn.
Right. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not standing on that line because it would be a waste. I called my rep at 9:15, and she actually picked up and she said, you're on my list to call. She told me exactly what I had to do to get my money out. And I got all my money out. But literally 2 weeks later, Flag Bank bought out Signature's accounts and locations and real estate. There's a congresswoman in New York that represents Staten Island and Brooklyn, and she made over $100,000 in 3 days because she sat on the committee that approved that merger, right? So my point is this:
these people,
not only her, but there are a lot more of the people that made money. There's not supposed to be insider trading going on. We get, in my opinion, the American people, we get the crumbs that the big guys want to let us have to keep us putting money into the market.
I don't think Mike is trying 100%. I don't think Mike is trying
to. What I'm saying is, I can't control the market. I can't control the wheels and deals that happen in the back end that we don't know about until they want to let us know about to throw us some crumbs. But you know what I can control? I can't control the added value I put on that property. I can't control how I do my tax return.
It's still active though.
I can't control how I either evict or re-educate those tenants. Right? I can't.
But let me say,
profits in that property.
But and that's 100%. But let me say the part about. So I'll give you an example. Back in 2001, I had the opportunity to buy Apple at $8. It was $8 or $10, right? And I remember that time because I was going to buy, like my buddy had said, yo, you know, Apple is at $10 now, right? Blah, blah, blah. And it was whatever. But I bought a laptop for $3,000. It was the newest one that came out. It was the nicest and blah, but I bought a laptop instead. Now I could have bought 1,000 shares of Apple instead and spent out $8,000, right? Now 1,000 shares of Apple would probably put me in the $1 million range right now. So for me, and it's not that much of an investment. So the reason why I say that is because our game is really the money game, right? Everybody who does what we do is really about the money game. Kris, you, we're all about the money game. And so what happens is there's going to be people who abuse the system, but you have to be able to say, how can I get in on a low base? Like, you wouldn't look at a tenement that's in $1 million neighborhood and say, I'm going to buy it $1 million. No, you're going to buy undervalued. You say, okay, that property is probably worth $450 to me. If I can get in at $450 and the renovations cost me $200, then I'm at $650. That's a comfortable position for me. It's the same thing with stock. When it pulls back to a position that you feel like is comfortable for you, and not Bitcoin, not these fly-by-night up and down things. And I agree with you 100%. It's only what they'll let us have with Bitcoin. When they go on to the new thing, you got your money in Bitcoin, it's going to fall. It's going to be something else. Yeah. And so that's what I mean. But when it's something that you can not so much control, but you get in and you can say, listen, I got an idea, or not an idea, but I'm looking at SoFi. SoFi was at $7. I was in SoFi, I think 1,000 shares at $7. Now SoFi is over, I think it's like 15 or 16, maybe $20. Palantir, the same, is at $7. Now Palantir is at 77. So for me, when you start looking at this ability for stock to move without you, so $7,000 is nothing to bring back 70,000 by letting it sit there. And that's just for the person who has the ability to be in the money game and just to be able to pick certain stocks. Like Palantir, the ticker is PLTR, is a great position. But to be able to buy it when it was sub 20, to be able to get in when it was 7, like I had AMD when it was $10. I didn't buy enough shares, but I had AMD at $10. It's at $100 and something now. So I'm not saying buy at the highs. You lose when you buy at the highs.
You're talking about,
you wouldn't buy any property at the highs.
You're talking about certain things.
Ahead,
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you to an extent. Hence, the reason I got a lot of money in my retirement fund in the market. I don't take that money out to invest in real estate anymore because I can't. It was harder for me to scale at that rate. But the point is, I do invest, and I think Kris does invest too. In the market. But the reality is, everything you just described is one, picking that diamond in the rough, number one. Number two, having the patience and the fortitude and the discipline not to sell when it went up to 50 and 60 and 70 and still hold on to it when it went to 100, right? And three, if I took the time out to do all that, I wouldn't have the time to be as good as I am at what I currently do best. So
that's right, and that's what you said. That makes the most sense. See, when you say that, when you say that, is still speaking? I'm sorry, I didn't hear. When you say what you say, it's exact. Like, you know how to pick a property, right? You pick a property because you've had years of experience. When you picked your corner property, that wasn't a diamond in the rough. That was something that you saw, you understood from years of experience, and you picked it. When you do the same, you have to learn how to pick stock. It's the same thing. Exactly. And you build up an understanding. Like when you sell your property, you know when to sell. There's no reason for you to sell, but you know when to sell, at what point to sell it, how to sell. That's what you do. You learn this tolerance. It's two people. It's you and this new guy, right? You both look at a property and you say, this property is $125,000. The neighborhood is $175,000. Well, the guy comes in and he's going to want to bid it to $150,000. He says, I really want it because his emotions are in it. You're so old in the game that you understand, I'm going to let this one either pass or I'm going to wait till it pulls back sub 100. If it pulls back sub 100, I'm in. But that's the tolerance that you have, and you've built that up. You understand that. It's the same game with stock. There's no difference. It's just the difference is sometimes we push away from it because it's not our expertise. And so you have that same skill set. Both you and Kris have that same skill set. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying, think about what you do because it matches that skill set. The way you pick houses is the same way you can pick a stock. The same way you have the patience for these houses is the same way you have the patience for that stock. You guys have that. You're not workers. You're people who are creatives, who understand money and how it works. And so to be able to not look at this other thing is like, it's not so much it's not fair, it's limiting who you are. Right. So what happens is you know how to deal and get to $1. So when you say, I don't really want to look at that, I only want to focus on this, you're limiting who you are, because all that time you have from the residuals that you make from your property, now you have to say to yourself, let me get around educated people who know the market. And let me see what they know, so it can matriculate down to me, and I can start to learn this. Because at some point, you're going to want to expand what you have. You're going to want to say, listen, I got X amount of dollars in this. I got X amount of dollars in this. I want to put something in something that's super moving, that's really growth right now. And that's the only thing I'm saying. I 100% I agree with you saying. But my point is you guys both are super, super intelligent, and you deal with money differently. So you leave something on the table when you don't look at the market, right? There's dividend funds, there's high moving, there's so many different things, and you have the skill set, because it's the same skill set. Like if you got a car lot, you selling cars, you selling houses, you selling stocks, you selling watches. It's all the same skill. You selling sneakers, you selling sandwiches, you selling videotapes, you selling whatever it is. It's all the same skill set. And when you're both of you guys are the same, it's kind of like you could sell a water to a whale, right? We all have that same ability. I'm just saying, when you look at the market can bring you back returns that are superior than superior than the real estate market. And it's not as much risk once you understand it. You guys are in it and you've mastered it, of course, or you continue to master it. But think about just that option, because I just think that you both are just those, like, I love hearing you guys, and it's like, I'm glad that you guys both teamed up to do this, because we get both groups, you know what I'm saying? We get the PR group, and we get the Black American, I love that. I love it. And I love it because so many people need to hear what you're saying, and it's coming from a skilled, like a professional, like not this suit and tie guy that's sitting in the desk that never really did anything. I laugh at those guys. They're money managers. You guys are boots on the ground. You get out and you do it every day. People will look at those. Yeah, say what?
We're practitioners.
Say again?
Practitioners.
But people don't look at you like they look at that guy. And that's what I'm glad that you guys are talking, because you guys are the real guys. That guy with the Mercedes or whatever car he's driving, with the suit, that's dealing and managing someone else's money, that never, I got to tell, somebody asked me, why do you drive that old truck around to your property? I said, you know how many times I done got fleas on me, and I wear these old shoes and boots, and I done walked around, and been mad bugs floating around. I'm like, yo, I don't want any of that in something nice. I just pull up you ever have to put a generator in the back of your Tahoe that's leaking gas? Nobody wants to do that in the new Escalade, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to
people don't understand. Yeah.
We got to keep moving, Mike. Great talking to you, man. It's great to hear your energy and your voice.
Hey, it's good. And you guys keep it up and enjoy the night. I really appreciate it. And thank you for letting me take the time to talk. Enjoy your night.
Okay.
Have a wonderful night, Mike.
You hear that stuff. It's funny you mentioned that. I was going to talk to you tonight, Dan, about being in the money business. I think most of us focus too much about looking for real estate, and we don't focus enough about looking for money. We don't focus enough. And like, if my life would have been so much easier if I would have focused more. I feel like just like Mike just said, we in the money game.
It would have been easier if I had focused more on looking for money rather than me focusing on earning the money to invest quicker.
Finding money is way better than earning it. Way
Yeah.
faster too. I could
Yeah. I
find
mean, but at some point, you still have to start at some point. So,
you got to start somewhere.
yeah. And I want everyone to understand when I save and Chris save, we're not saving because we're saving to spend it. We're saving to invest it.
Jack.
You know,
Caller, you're on the line with Kris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
My name's Jack. I'm from Florida. I think I spoke with Dan before.
did we speak
What's going
yesterday,
on?
Jack?
Yeah, we did. What's going on, man?
How
My
are
phone died the other day.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hey, Jack, what you got, buddy?
Nothing much. I mean, what do you guys think nowadays? Do you really think it's still a buyer's market, or do you think
Well,
we should
Jack,
have
hold
the
on a
Fed just cut
second.
the rate?
I want you to tell Chris who you are. If I remember correctly, you're 23 years old, right?
Yeah, I'm 23 years old. I had a little bit of not an inheritance, but my mom allowed me to choose what to do with my money. I was able to buy a $100,000 sports car if I wanted to, but I just told her I'd rather invest in real estate. So we had the opportunity to buy about 4 to 5 rental properties in Lakeland, Florida. It's in Polk County. It was the most cheapest place in Florida at the time. I mean, everyone used to make fun of it. No one wanted to live here. Everyone's biggest goal was to leave here. If you still lived here in 5 to 10 years, you were going to be looked at like a clown. So I said, all right, let's just buy up as many as we can. So, I mean, we spent $30,000 on like 2 or 3. We were literally begging people because we didn't have enough money to buy the whole block, but we literally told people that were in their 60s, we said, this is almost guaranteed turnkey. You get someone in here that you're going to have it paid off in less than a year. So, I mean, it was almost a no-brainer to do it. So, of course, we got 50% equity with only putting like $5,000 down, with another person putting $25,000 down. So, I mean, we still got half equity of the property. So,
Cool,
I mean,
man.
who knows what's going to happen with that whenever he passes away or something. Hopefully it all goes back to me, but he has no kids or nothing. But he just lives off of what I manage the property, and he gets his monthly thing from the
Yeah.
rent. But he's not worried about it, because he's already reaped the benefits of this for now 4 years. So, I mean, he's already making profit on top of everything.
We got to get you back.
Jack,
We got
the
to get
reason-
a question.
Yeah, the reason I wanted you to explain to the audience and to Chris is because when people tell me they can't do it, here's the kid 23 years old. He's out here kicking ass with it. So I want to thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of haters. That's the thing. You have a lot of haters who are going to say daddy's money, mommy's money. I mean, I grew up with a single mom. I had 3 siblings. I mean,
Doesn't
it
matter.
was impossible.
The point is, you took the opportunity and ran with it, and you didn't waste it on buying a liability. You bought an asset. But what's your question, Jack?
I was just going to ask you. I was going to say, is it still a buyer's market nowadays? Because I see so many investors. I mean, I see so many guys out here just waiting to jump in as soon as they drop rates. I mean, they've even told me themselves. They said if they even think about dropping rates even more than they are now, I'm going to buy as much as I can. I know, like I just kind of tell you the other day, I have a friend who's in his 30s. He's a tax deed investor. He went around and bought tax deed sales all over Polk County because I don't know if his family has money from overseas or something, but they invested in him and he bought as many properties as he could. One of the properties that we actually purchased on a tax deed sale, we actually had to pay him $10,000 not to bid against us. And he was one of our good friends and everything. He said, I'm sorry, but I just can't do it. So we actually had to pay him $10,000 not to bid, and he didn't. And we got the property for a really good deal. We, of course, sold it for double what it's worth, but we still had to come out of pocket $10,000 so this guy wouldn't take advantage of it.
I don't know. Is it a buyer's market, Chris? I mean, I'm not finding as many deals as I did in 2010, 2009. But I mean,
Here's
it
the
doesn't
thing,
matter
Jack.
to me what the interest rates
You
are.
got
as
to
long as
remember,
something makes sense.
we don't buy on market conditions. We buy on social issues: death, divorce, drug abuse, job loss, job transfer, sickness. So the market is going to be the market the way it's been for the last 6,000 years, man. You got to just find out where you fit in, brother.
It's just people know what they got nowadays. Back in like 5 years ago, people didn't really know what they had.
Yeah,
I
but
acquired a property right
people
on
still going
county
to
line
die.
because the
They're
guy
still
didn't
going to
want to.
get divorced. They're still going to get sick. They're still going to lose their job. They're still going to have the job transferred. This shit doesn't go away just because interest rates are. I don't care if interest rates are zero.
Yeah, military people still going to get deployed.
No, yeah, I don't even think about. In fact, I tried. I don't even put it in my mind. You know what I tell myself every day? Someone is losing a house every day of the year. I promise you. You got to be
The
in the ready to
foreclosure, or are you talking about selling?
death, divorce, drug abuse, loss of job transfer, sickness. This happens every day. All right. And I have to remind myself too, this, Jack. Forget the market. People still going to get sick. They're still going to die. They're going to look. You with me? I could say it 20 times. I don't want to, I'm just saying we don't buy.
No,
on
I
market
understand,
conditions.
but that you're only balancing off of making equity. You're trying to take the equity. People understand they have equity now. That's the difference.
There's
5
nothing to
years
do
ago,
with
people
equity.
didn't understand
Position,
the equity
market,
in these properties.
position,
Jack,
nothing to do with
Jack,
equity.
you need to sell your offers, right? So when Kris and I, when we go make an offer, our offers are much less than what the market price would be.
Might be more. I'm buying one now.
Well,
I'm taking
I mean,
over the
Why
payments.
would you
It doesn't
sell?
matter.
That's the difference. Why would you sell if
Hold
you have
on,
a
Jack.
paid off
I'm going to tell you
property
why.
you bought
I'm
for
going to
6?
tell you why. Because we are coming with cash and convenience. What we're selling,
But I make $5,000 a month off of it.
Off of what?
again,
That's
they're
what I'm trying
selling.
to say.
they're
If I
selling
made
the
$5,000 a
property.
month and I paid 70, why would I
don't
sell?
think. I don't think. Jack's
Because
wrong.
you're the wrong. You're not the
You're the
right
wrong
buyer.
company.
You're
Yeah,
not
you're
the
not
right
the right
seller for
person.
us.
Yeah.
You're not the right seller.
Hey, Jack. Thanks for calling in, brother.
Thank you,
too, man.
Jack.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Jack, well, I guess
I can't let people commandeer and change the frequencies in our broadcast. You know.
So what we're saying to the audience is this, guys. Let's say someone knows that they have a property that's worth $100,000.
I got people that know they're giving me $100,000, $200,000 of equity. I know people that they know they're giving it to me. Why you gonna sell it to me? Because it's time to sell.
Well,
What the hell are you talking about?
We're selling convenience, right? So
Yeah.
when you come to Dan and Dave, you come to Dan Borrero, you come to Kris Haskins. You're coming to us because you want the convenience.
I want this thing done.
You want to sell your grandmother's house that you just inherited, and you don't want to clean it out because you live in Michigan and this house is in New Jersey, right? So you don't want to have to clean it out. You don't have to fix the roof. You don't want to go through an inspection. You don't want to wait to see if the person could get the mortgage. And we come in and we say, we're going to take care of all that for you. We don't care that the property has lead paint. We don't care that the property has a bad tenant. We don't care that the property needs a new roof. We don't care that you're going to leave your grandmother's furniture in that other apartment, and we got to empty out the garage. But we know the property's worth $500, but we're going to pay you $300. This is what we're offering because there's a value to what to the condition that we're going to take it under.
Value.
There's a value to you not having to orchestrate and manage that from Michigan when the property's in New Jersey.
But you know what, Dan? They have the option to do all that.
They can, and
they got the option to do it.
They can, right?
Let them do it,
right?
Let them do it, and most people do. Most people deal with it,
right? So that's so. But the thing is, we sell our offer. We are showing, hey, yeah, you're going to pay us less, and this is the market price, and we're upfront. I'm very upfront. Yeah. But this is the value of what we're going to do for you.
But no, I mean, there's so many things, Jack. I've got empathy because when you're young, you're like, why would someone do this? Why would someone do that? It ain't you. There's a rule I had to learn. Everybody knows the golden rule, y'all. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I had to be taught the platinum rule, Dan. The platinum rule goes above and beyond. Maybe Jack could get this. The platinum rule. Do unto others as they want to be done to, right? So you do what the hell if they call you in and they say, I want to sell you my house tomorrow for give you $100,000, guess what? You buy it.
Listen, don't
ask no questions.
Yeah, I'm going to say, so I learned a very valuable lesson when I had my first business, which was a video store, right? I would go and buy multiple copies of the movies that got the most acclimates, right? And I came to realize that they weren't moving very quick. And then I'd go out and buy some cheap karate movies and some B-class horror movies that cost me literally 30% of what the A-class movies cost me. And they rented more. Everybody like, who would rent this crap? Why would anybody want to watch this shit?
Who cares?
But that's what they wanted. So we give people what they want.
That's right.
It's not what I want. It's what the public wants. It's what the community wants. It's what the market demands. Is what we have to sell.
Hey, we got a IG question. Check your IG too, Dan.
Okay.
We'll come back to that. Ayana says, do we recommend getting a fixer-upper as a first-time home buyer in Newark, New Jersey? You know Newark better than me. I don't know.
Newark's laws, housing laws, have a lot to do closer to New York City laws. So the further north you are in New Jersey, the harder the housing tenant landlord laws are. So if you want to do a fixer up and a fix and flip, you know what? It all depends. It all depends on the numbers. If the numbers make sense, yeah, would I do it? Yes, but the numbers have got to make exceptional sense. Exceptional sense. You okay, Chris?
Yeah, just sneezing, man. We'll take one more call. Caller, call in with your questions, 757-204-1332. It takes some time. I was the same way. Why in the hell would someone sell me their house? Death. I mean, I can't say it a million times. People dying every day. We buy based on social issues, y'all. And stop worrying about why people do things the way they do. Who cares? When you dating a girl, she wants to be choked. She wants you to pull her hair. She wants you to whatever. You don't ask why. You just go in and you do it, right? So it's like when you, I don't even know why.
That graphic.
I'm just saying. People are like, why this, why that, yo, and why I know Dan going to the bank. I'm going to the bank, cashing checks. I don't think about why. I wake up. I had a lady the other day, horrible situation. I'm like, look, this is what we do. This is what we do. Blah, blah, blah. I'm gone, right? I mean, I don't think about why. Dan, do you think about why this and why that?
I can't think. I don't have enough bandwidth or time to think about.
I don't have enough. I got too much shit to think about. So when I got a guy asking me why they do this, why, yo, man, you go think about all that. I'm done, right? So you don't do it. You just step up and you give them what it is that they want. Okay, that's why the beautiful girl. I mean, I have an analogy like the beautiful girl in high school. And I never forget. She loves the bad boy, the athlete, the guy that's gonna cheat on her, take her money, and then you going in. I'm gonna be the good guy. You meet her, you whining and dining her, taking her out, making her feel like a queen, making sure she's number one. And then what she do to you? She steps on you, right? Because she wasn't ready. So that's what I mean by the platinum rule. You can't do things to people like I remember my mother used to say, honey, don't forget the golden rule to go do unto others as they be. I'm like, okay. Then I went to real estate. I promise you, they taught me this at Home Investors. I paid these people $10,000, right? They set me in a room. They were like, listen, I know you've been operating by the golden rule your life. Get it out of here. We operate by the platinum rule. Right? I'm paying these people. I'm like, okay, cool. What's the platinum rule? You treat people the way they want to be treated. And that's what we do, right? I'm like, damn, they took me out, man, and they showed me the game. I'm giving y'all this stuff for free. That's exactly what they told me to do. So I don't think about it.
$10,000 for the audience is getting free right now.
Yeah, I'm like, did anyone teach you that rule, Dan?
No, I mean, I think that was just.
If somebody comes to you and says,
I know what you're saying, and I've actually used that rule. I just never put a name to it.
That's the rule. If someone comes to you and says, I want my house worth $300, I'm selling you for $200. What you want to do? You ain't gonna fucking sit around and say, why this?
You know what? I've had people say to me, you're right. My house is worth $300. I'll sell it to you for $200, but I don't want to hear shit. I don't care.
Okay.
What during the inspections, I've had a guy. I actually had a property owner walk me through the entire property. This is wrong. 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 So okay, house is worth $300. I said, all right, but I know this, and this is going to cost this. I'll sell it for $2.25. And I look at him. I said, done.
I don't have what I'm gonna do.
Nothing to discuss. He was all up front with me. He knows what the value of that work is if for someone else to do it, and he was willing to discount the property from the beginning. What am I going to argue with him about? What? Nothing.
There's nothing to argue. You don't beat him up. You don't go lower. You're like, you absolutely. I'm agreeing with you. I'm validating. You're doing all that stuff. Like, okay, cool. Let's do it.
Derek Johnson, motivated sellers are the best way of course, because it's not dictated by the
market conditions. You're absolutely right.
And there's a lot of motivated sellers that are too stupid to get out of their own way.
They don't. Yeah, let them. And you know what? In this country, I read you have the right to be as stupid or as ignorant as you want to be. I hear people say, Dan, I know you hear it all the time. You can't do that. No, I got to call the bank. I got to go call the bank and put my name on a loan if I want to buy it subject to. I got to make sure the bank. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm like, I'm 49 now, Dan. You older than me. I know you want to whack some people.
I don't know about wacko, but I do have less tolerance.
I'm
Callers,
thinking about whacking them.
we'll take one more call.
All right.
What was that question?
That was the same one from Jersey, from Newark. Yeah. Here's the thing with I want people getting back to this fraud thing. People getting these loans and saying they're moving in, and then turning it into a. It's a thin line. It's a fine line between fraud and what you think is just a little line on the application. I'm telling y'all, man, they can come back. They can come after any of us for one little thing. It's just one. You're like, damn, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
So
it's like, yeah, let's talk about that. FHA,
I'm telling you, I was thinking about you the other day. I'm like,
FHA loans is like, you got to live in the property for a year, right? Sometimes they say 2 years. Then they say, the brokers will say, I've heard actual brokers tell this to my mentees, will come back and say, yeah, but my mortgage broker said I could tell them that, but I could just always say I changed my mind the day before, after I bought it. I said, yeah, but keep doing that? You change your mind every single time? Like, obviously they don't have the resources to go catch everybody. But
you don't.
First of all, you telling me this, how many other people you told? And then when you piss that person off, you don't think they got now the ammunition to call the government and say, this is what you did or doing?
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Number two, don't do it. It's not worth it.
It's just not worth it, man. And back in the day, they say that. I changed my mind. That used to fly years ago, but now
it does it. I don't know. Again, I've never done an FHA loan, so I couldn't tell you. But
I don't think
if that's the loan you went for, because for whatever reason, comply with the loan.
Yeah, just comply. ZG, The Game of Life and How You Play It is a book with a platinum rule. Oh, okay, that's where that came from. The Game of Life. Y'all call in. We'll take one more question. I got Dan Borrero here, y'all.
I got to tell you, Kris, I'm so proud of this platform. I think that this platform brings a lot of value to people because we're so honest on here. Besides being so honest, we approach this business from two different perspectives. Mm-hmm. So when people calling in and getting questions, we're answering their questions. They're getting two different perspectives from two different seasoned investors. The point is, there is no one right way to do this business, right? It all depends on the laws that are in your area that dictate how you're supposed to comply with the laws. It all depends on your risk tolerance. It all depends how much money you have, right? The educational level. How much time have you spent educating yourself in the business? Caller?
We got a caller here, Dan. Thank you. Caller, you're on the line with Kris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, what's up, fellas? My name is Zion. I'm from. I just texted in the group chat. I told you where the book Platinum Moon was from.
Oh, what? Okay, that was you, ZG.
Yeah,
ZG. Okay.
Yep.
Where you at?
So no, I had a question, right? I'm like early in the
where you calling from? I gotta put you on. Where you calling from, Don?
Rhode Island.
Oh, Rhode. Okay, go ahead.
So I got some money that I'm trying to invest, right? I got 2 properties. I just cashed out on one. I did a refi. So now I got 400 I'm trying to play with. I'm trying to see what's the best to go about finding a house. I had a couple leads. They fell through. Trying to find off-market stuff. Thinking about getting prop stream. Just trying to see if you guys had any info for me.
Go right there. Kris Property Data. Get prop stream yesterday. You got to have it, dog.
Yeah.
Dan, go ahead. Let you start first.
Prop stream's a good product. I find the best deals I've ever made come from the result of networking, going to networking events.
What makes you say that?
Because I get to meet people there that are in a position that either have a property or know of somebody that may need, somebody like ourselves where we bring in value because of the convenience, right? Um, and the other thing is, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm
What do you say?
What is that?
29.
29.
30.
Um, the best advice I could give you is this, and unfortunately, it doesn't happen overnight. The more you start to network, the more you start to bring value to other people's lives, whether that be with joining block party associations or going to community board meetings. The other thing is maybe you may not have to buy something at a discounted price and pay market price. And I'll give you an example. When you should be putting your name, your email on every politician's email list, newsletter, the mayor's office, the councilman's office, the assemblyman's office, the state senator's office, the congressperson's office, the senator's office, because every time something is about to happen in the community, some development or new commercial site or new zoning that's going to widen a street or a new highway being built or an exit off a highway, you are now going to have this information, which now, even if you went and bought at market price, that they're expanding the hospital, or they're going to widen this road or make it commercial, even though it's currently residential. The day they make it commercial, which will be a year, 2 years from now, based on the information you got, right? Now it goes up another 20-30% because it was just zoned to commercial, right? So sometimes it's not just about buying property at a discounted rate rather than buying property based on information. So, if you're looking to buy property, there's multiple ways to get value and net, but the primary thing is networking. So Kris gets calls and I get calls from people that we spoke to 10 years ago that they remembered us from a networking event or that we were involved in the community in some sort, right? And hey, Dan, I know you buy in this area. My grandmother's selling her house. Do you want to buy it, right? So what happens?
Yeah. Yep.
Networking you start to do, and at 29 years old, you really don't have much. But by the time you're 35, you're gonna have a shitload of networking. You're gonna have your name out there. People are gonna start sending you deals because you're the person of that keeps their word. So and that's the other thing. Keeping your word it's extremely valuable, even when it means you're gonna lose money. Even if it means you made a mistake and you lose money, you got to still do the deal.
Okay. Thank you for the information. Yeah. I don't know how much time you guys have, so I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I'll call back next week. I had a couple more questions, Kris.
Go ahead, Don. You good?
How you guys? I know you guys been out for a
Fire
while.
away, man. Shit, that's what we're here for.
Questions, give it to
Okay. So I asked about the zone, the auction site, because so there's a house that's around my neighborhood because I walk around sometimes and I see houses like with high grass and stuff like that. Or I drive around sometimes. And I always look for distressed homes.
Good.
And there was a house that I couldn't get in contact with the owner. He went into foreclosure on that zone. It's like the Hub Zoo, like you mentioned, Dan. And I'm just trying to get information on those sites, how they work. I asked you guys already a question about it, but I wanted to know, like, so
listen,
I'm reading online, they're saying to get a title search. Sorry?
If they're telling you to title search, that means they're not okay. That's a different.
Well, you're gonna get a title search anyway. I mean,
Well, no,
before you bid.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
Hold on, Kris, because they might.
Wouldn't I do that after I won the bid?
Yeah,
What'd
Kris,
you
there's
say?
certain auction sites that won't, you close and it's on you to get
No doubt.
title insurance.
No doubt.
It's okay. I don't know about the
Yeah,
auction.
they offer. Yeah, so online I'm reading like on Reddit, they offer to do a title search for you, but they're saying it's like it has fees with it and it's not worth it. It's better to just go to closing attorney. So, but I just wanted to make sure like get it, waste my money on a title search before I go to the auction site and then lose the bid.
It all
I want
depends.
Yeah.
So I like to use Hubzu when I buy in auctions because they come with title company. They come with a title search. They close with title insurance. Now, this is the problem with auctions, and I want people to truly, please listen to about what I'm going to say. And I know for sure Kris is going to agree with me. The details are in the fine print. The killing is in the fine print. So when you buy from these auction sites, understand that you may be paying 1 to 3% to the listing agent that actually put it on the auction. You got to read the fine print.
5%
Okay.
on this one.
Wow.
In addition,
Yeah, crazy.
you have to use their title company to close. You know that your cost is going to be between 10 and 20% more expensive than normal. Minimal, maybe higher. In addition, there's an auction fee as well. In addition, they may preclude real estate back taxes that are owed. And most of the time, when they're telling you that you have to do a title search, is because they're not going to give you clean title. That's on you to clean up the title. So, what I'm saying is, even when they're going to give you clean title, you better read the fine print. So, when I make an offer on some of these auction sites, right, I know, okay, wait a minute, it's going to cost me another $20,000. Now 80. So you have to know your numbers before you start bidding on that auction and know what your real costs are. Otherwise, you're going to end up on the losing end of that deal.
Yeah, Yeah, no, because the house, if I get it for the number I want, I already took all that into consideration. And that's what I was concerned about, like them not having a clean title, like if they owed any type of liens on the house, taxes, whatever, mechanical, anything. So that's why I was concerned. And I'll probably just pay the money for the title search beforehand, but then I just was like, didn't want to waste the money.
The problem is
on a title search beforehand.
If I the house off the auction and you paid the title for nothing.
But Dan, they're going to give you something called a special warranty deed, Don.
Yep.
That means, look, we're not covering everybody. We're just covering the time we had it, right? So it could very well be a mechanic lien or a public utility lien, even though the title was clear, right? So yes, you still, and I'm not saying you don't want to, but here's the thing. When you deal with auctions, you just got to have a budget for title searches, dog. I've done 10, 20 of them and not even bought the houses. So if you're in that auction world, just in your mind, go ahead and just cut a couple thousand to the side for title searchers. It's just part of the business.
That's fine. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, it's part. It's just the cost of doing business. I got that. That's
that
fine.
Way, guess what? When you go to sleep at night, you can say, "Damn, I know what the title is." Right? You sleep better at night, right? Good. So it's like you just spend the $200 or whatever. It's peanuts compared to what you're dealing with. But yeah, you're right. Those title searches can get expensive. But yeah, man, just fire them away. Would you say Dan? No, Dan?
Yeah, if that's the realm you want to play in, that's part of being that side of the business.
Part of business, man. But Don, I don't know if, when I hear you got money, I'm like, man, I would much rather you hedge against your knowledge base and just work with some dudes that are already doing it. You just go out there, they're already at 40,000 feet. You just take them to 50,000 as opposed to you going from 0 to 20. It's like, shit, that's way harder.
Okay.
Well, Dan, what'd you say about that? I want to hear Dan's opinion on that shit. Because I'm like, we even Dan talked earlier, we're not in the real estate game. We're in a money game, and you got money.
I agree that, right? If you're finding it that difficult to find the deals, then partner it with somebody that's got the networking, the networking platform.
Yeah, I was thinking about going to like a wholesale website too, like to find wholesalers, and
Investor
then I could be their end buyer.
Yeah, just be careful with the wholesalers, right? Because
he gonna get his title working done anyway.
Yeah, so that's fine, but I'm not. Let's take away.
The value.
Yeah, the value. So what I find, I used to buy a lot of property from wholesalers, and now I'm lucky if I buy one a year.
Yeah,
because what I find happens is that there were so many people teaching how to wholesale, and there's so many people selling the idea on social media, like you don't need no money, you could become a wholesaler. And by the way, it's all bullshit. You need money to become a wholesaler. You need money to pay the person who wants to teach you this, right? Who says you don't need no money. You come to my class, you got to pay that person, right? Then you got to pay the person to get you the leads, and then do the mailings, and do the internet, do the emails. It costs money, people. This business costs you money. So when someone's trying to sell you the idea that don't cost you no money, use other people's money, Yeah. How much is it going to cost you for them to teach you how to use other people's money? You know,
Okay.
again, what I'm saying is when you go to a wholesaler, there's so many of them out there. Like they'll send me a listing, right? Oh, this property, the comps are 500,000 and it's 300,000 with a $50,000 wholesale fee, and it only needs
Entry fee now, they say.
yeah, and it only needs $50,000 of work. And then I'm looking at the pictures and I'm like, where they getting the 50,000? Roof alone is gonna cost me 12. The kitchen's gonna cost me another 15, right? The two bathrooms are gonna spend another 30, 40, right? And that's not including painting, moldings, landscaping, new windows, new doors. And that's not including what I'm gonna find when I get to the basement with the heating system or cooling system or the water heater. Where are they getting 50 from, right? So now, even let's say I did their numbers, after I do the two closing costs and the renovations, even if I did do their numbers, I'm gonna spend, let me see, $350,000 to maybe make 50. Yeah, it ain't worth it.
It ain't worth it.
Right. So you gotta be real careful with these wholesalers because there's so many wholesalers out there. They're cutting each other's throats just to get the contract and not leaving no meat in the bone for people like us.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Don. Good luck to you, brother. Let us know if we can help you. Consultation.
Okay, so I'll call back.
Both of us got consultations links. Just go to our bios and so send an email. We can see if we can
go to DanielBroJr.com or KrisHaskins.com.
All right, fellas.
Okay, take care. That was some good stuff tonight, Dan.
It was, man. I'm
glad
Don got some called in with great questions. Thank you all that called in. Remember, if you guys want to do a consultation with Kris, I still have I still have my Black Friday sale. I've got 116 mentorship classes that I've done, and I do one every week, and I've categorized that into the mentorship unleashed. It's normally $695, and it's we got like 5 spots left at the 197 price. So cool. If you're interested in that, go to DanielBroJr.com.
Dan got it all together. So y'all give us a follow. It is an honor to be able to bring you this data. Dan's been in the game since '89. I can't believe it's another year for me, man. I got 21. I can't believe I've been doing this since 2004. Do you ever look back, Dan, and
I try not to, man, because it scares me. I posted a video of this old guy. He was having a good time dancing with this group.
I saw that. Yeah, it was 7.
Yeah, and I was like, man, I hope at 80 years old I could still move like that. 2, I want to still celebrate like that every time I do a deals. Because when I'm 80 years old, I ain't doing it because I need the money. I'm gonna be doing it because I love the high, right? I love the challenge, right? So I want to be dancing like that when I'm 80 years old after a great deal.
You're a mess. Well, I just wanted, before I left y'all today, if I was looking back at my life and I wish I fought, I had a ton of resistance to the money game. Like I was like, I'm gonna be a real estate dude. I don't want to know about this money or finance and all this stuff. And as I got older, I recognized that financing is the gas that runs the real estate business. Let me say that again. Financing is the gas that runs all this real estate stuff that Dan and I do. So why not just own the gas station? Why not? Like my man Don, he got the cash already, but he's thinking about real estate. If I were him, and I am him, I'm like, look, I just want to meet guys that's doing deals. Let me bring the money. I mean, that's all I do now. Dan, I mean, you really just, I can imagine you're just moving. Aren't you just moving money around all day?
Not as much as I used to. In 2010. In 2010,
generally speaking,
I was speaking, a matrix like this all day.
Moving money.
But in general, yeah, it's like there's not. The first thing I look at is my brokerage account in the morning. I look at my bank accounts to make sure everything's hitting the way it's supposed to be hitting, deposits, withdrawals, all that. And by the way, I check that like twice a day, all those accounts.
What about acquisitions?
And I'm looking at my closings, what I'm selling, what I'm buying.
None of that got to do. I just want people to understand that has nothing to do with real estate. It just, he's looking at money. I'm telling you, it is an advanced skill that people think this all about real estate. Real estate is
one of the things I could say that I've developed over the years that have helped me the most is managing people, right? Because I got to manage my banker, I got to manage my attorney, I got to manage my architect,
Contractor,
I got to
CPA.
manage my contractors, my handyman, my tenants, the people that manage my tenants,
Mhm.
right? Because there's office staff that we manage, right? And all while motivating at the same time. Even though on the worst days of our lives, when we wake up in the morning, Kris Haskins and I, we're humans. Shit happens in our lives that are depressing sometimes, right? But yet we still can't put. We have to put that aside, manage up everyone that's dependent on us, as well as motivating them at the same time.
Something, brother.
Yeah.
It's something. Management. Okay. Thank you guys. We'll see you next Sunday. Get your real estate questions in. If you want a consultation with either one of us, there's an email below. You can get both of us. We got a special link for you. If you want to get us both on the same time, just send us an email and we'll send you that link.
Can
I'll see you soon, guys. Share this stuff. Peace.